I'm Mrs. Annabelle Wamboi Kanyari. I'm married to Mr. Hezron Karanja. We have 3 children who are all young adults, and happy to be here.
I'm Nancy Waithira Mureithi. I'm married to James Mureithi for the last 30 years. And we have 3 children, Winrow, Cynthia, and George. My current last born is 20 years, and I'm happy to be here.
My name is Rebecca Modoni Mwangi, and I'm single. I am a last born in my family, so I'm looking forward to this conversation, and I'm grateful and happy to be here.
My name's Alice Wanjiro Gashwe, married to George Gashwe. I'm a mother of 3. I have twins, and I'm happy to be here, and I'm looking forward for this conversation. Thank you.
My journey of womanhood, I was brought up, I have 2 faces, one of the city, Nairobi, the other one of upcountry, Kiambu. I schooled in the city, and I used to go to Kiambu every day, and there were 2 sides. Up at Kiambu, I had a grandmother. I had my parents, I had my grandmother. And as you are growing up, you grow up with, when you are taught responsibility. A girl is supposed to sit like this, a girl is supposed to do this, a girl is supposed to have a headscarf. The responsibility, grew up in it. And growing up in it kind of made life easier, because it was everybody, it was with my cousins. And you learn to appreciate being a girl. From there, when you become a teenage, when we went to high school, it was a girls' school only. You start learning to appreciate yourself. And you learn, like, most of the time you're being pushed maybe to be a doctor, these big professions. But there's something special about being a woman, being a girl. There are the other extra responsibilities which make you appreciated. And finally, when I went to college, and finally when I became a mother, whatever I grew up doing has finally brought me comfort in my own home, because it's not a task, it's not about equality, it's about appreciating you as a woman, as a lady. When it comes to education, you're educated, so people will not put you off because you don't have the education. Responsibility, I don't put it as responsibility. It's a sense of you're busy doing what you should do, not you must do, but you should do. And you learn to appreciate yourself. When you make a meal for your family and they sit down and they tell you how nice it is, Mami make kaza, you learn to appreciate yourself. An example, I learned to make chapo when I was in standard 4. I think I was 9 years. And over the years, it has, I've become a better cook. When the children sit down and your husband, they tell you, wow, that food was good, we want you to make us this. And you feel appreciated as a woman.
Yeah. I was born in Muranga, in the rural place, Muranga, whereby my mother was a single lady who was she was very strict in bringing us up. We were 4 girls, and she was very, very strict. But I've come to realize that the reason as to why my mother was so strict is that she wanted the best out of us. And because she was single, she didn't want the neighborhood, the people to talk about her children, that they have bad characters. And so she was really strict on us. I remember one day when we went to swimming in a certain river, my present, she came and beat us so much. And I didn't know why, because nowadays we pay for swimming for our children. But my mother was really, I think she was harsh on us. But she brought us up so well, and I'm proud of her right now. And after my school, I went to high school, girls' school, and I finished, and I was employed and got married immediately, which was not of what I wanted, because I was really saying my mother was so strict. I didn't go to these schools, I didn't go to those places where people go to have fun. So I thought, now I'm employed, I'm in Nairobi, I'll be going to the discos and having fun with friends. But the year I was employed, this man saw me that same year. That same month I was employed. And I got married and started bringing up children. God gave me 2 girls, the firstborn, the secondborn. After 8 months, I got the secondborn. After the firstborn was born, 8 months, I was pregnant again, and I got my other girl. And lastly, I got my son. Bringing up girls has so many challenges, of which maybe I'll talk later. And I love myself so much as a woman. I love myself. I like raising my self-esteem all the time. I don't care what people think about me. I care of myself. If I check myself on the mirror and I see I'm beautiful, I don't care what other people say. So that is the woman I am, and I'm a happy woman living.
This is an interesting conversation, because when I identify myself as a lastborn, it's not my identity, but it's my position. And it's also my place of having learned so much. And I'm grateful that God gave me elderly parents, because my mom got me when she was 42. And so I'm the last born at the age of 42. Right now, I'm 43. I'm not married. I don't have children. So when it comes to trying to identify myself as a woman in an African culture where people look at me and wonder, why are you 43 and you're single? Is something wrong with you? No, something is not wrong with me. It's just a decision that I've made. It could be arising from mistakes I've also made in the past. So I'm also working on that. And when it comes to the identity of also being a woman in this 20th century, I would say it's also a challenge, because it does affect our mental health. When people point fingers at you and wonder, especially aunties. So I have 2 aunties present here that are amazing women, and they have not been those aunties that disturb you and ask you, when are we coming for tea? And when it also comes to my journey as a woman, for many people that know me, succession has also impacted my definition of a woman, especially from a cultural perspective of, should women inherit, should women not inherit? So there are several conversations that are taking place. And also right now, when women are standing concerning femicide, we need to just embrace our identity as a woman from the definition of the Bible, because women in the Bible were very strong, and God had a plan for women. So for me right now, I've decided to not embrace the cultural dimension or the feminist dimension of all of these things. Let's just look at ourselves and go back to what was the definition that God created women to be. So I'm still dealing with a lot of different battles to define me as a woman, being in Africa, and also, of course, being a lastborn. But I'm just working on that journey and that identity to define myself, who I will choose to be in Kenya, as a Kenyan woman, as a Kikuyu woman, as a single woman.
Born in Nakuru, Rongai, a family of 6. We were 6, 3 girls and 4 boys, but one passed on 97. We were brought up well by my parents, my dad and my mom and my grandmother. I've stayed with my grandmother for the longest time. And I've seen how my mother has taken care of my grandmother. She was the mother to my dad. But even most people knew that my mom is the one who is the daughter to my grandmother. But she was the stepdaughter, the daughter-in-law. And I've learned to embrace myself through my mother and my grandmother as a woman, because I was taught as a woman, I was shown how a woman should behave. Although I was not given that the way on how when you get married, this is how you're supposed to behave, or what you're not supposed to do this. I just learned from seeing what my mother was doing to my dad and also to my grandmother. So I went to a mixed school, primary school up to class 8. Then I went to high school as a girls' school, a Catholic girls' school. After that, when I finished my 4th form, I got married the following year in July. So I never went for my college, although I had a letter. Even today I have it in my suitcase. I always tell my husband I need to go for this college. And when I was getting married, my husband promised to take me to college. But I came to a bigger college because I have my children, I have him, and he has done so much for me. And right now, I thank God for that time, because I think I was patient enough, and I've learned a lot since I got married. And I thank God for this time, and also for my family. Now we are enjoying our honeymoon because we are the 2 of us. The children are out of the house, and I thank God. Yes.
Thank you so much, Auntie Alice, for bringing me to this panel, because you've been so instrumental in my life. And I would say in my own family, you know my mom. My mom is a very strong woman, and she's really impacted me and taught me a lot. And I've also engaged with the women from my own family. So that's also where the position of the last born comes in, where I've learned from my mom, my elder sisters, my sister-in-law, now my brother's wives, and also my niece, who has made me today a grandmother. Thank you very much. You know yourself. And I'm very grateful. So my journey of womanhood, I've learned from my mother, and I've also learned a lot from my living grandmother now, Alice's mom-in-law. And whenever they come home, I'm very open. So I would say learn how to be open. Let the younger generation ask a lot of questions. So in as much as the elderly might look at it like kiherehere ama ukomjuaji, if you need to ask a question, ask a question. I've been laughed at, and I'm okay being laughed at, because I've gotten the knowledge that I need to know. Because whenever I've had questions to ask, I call Auntie Alice. And also be intentional in looking for the elderly people. So like now, every time Shosho comes over, I go over and I ask my questions, and I'll say what I have to say. So like on the topic, for example, of love, Shosho laughed at me on Sunday, and she's like, that one, forget about him. Let's move on to this other topic. So I'm so grateful. Thank you also for picking up my calls and hearing my funny questions and just being there. Yeah. So, and something else that I learned was my mom learned how to make chapatis. It's my dad. I enjoyed your story earlier.
And also, and I fell for that.
She cooked very nice chapatis, and we used to call it menda. The chapati fly, it's called menda. And my roommate, my friend, Mr. TK, loved chapati a lot. So one day we decided to give them a surprise that we can cook chapati with me and my roommate.
Where you said that, where now you're talking about the chapatis. So like, I always wondered how my mom learned how to make good chapatis. My father actually entered the kitchen. He defied culture and told my mom, I will enter the kitchen just this once to teach you how I like my chapatis. And my mother's chapatis are amazing, but you see, so the interesting thing about the roles and also not being so close-minded, I think that also works. Yeah.
Actually, I'm a mother of 2 daughters and 1 son. My daughter, the oldest one is 30, the other one is 26. And when it comes to, we are an open people in the house, open family, but sometimes I think this social media, the modernity which is there it's not like us. As we were trained by our grandmothers, our aunties, you'd sit down and you had to listen to them. They teach you and you had to listen. Nowadays, I think we listened too much until now we are listening to them instead of teaching them. So when it comes to things like womanhood and love, they're the ones who are even telling you. I don't know, they call themselves Generation 1. But I like it because when we sit at the table, sometimes they are willing to listen. They have the questions. And if you're open and truthful, they will sit down and listen as you walk the steps. They even ask us, Mom, how did you meet Dad? Mom, how long did you take to visit Dad's house? Mom, how did you... You have to be very honest with them, and they learn to trust you, which will make them make the next milestone. And then this is not a generation which is not like ours. By the time I was 26, 27, you feel like you're late in getting married. Nowadays, even when they are 30, they still tell you we're still young. No, we can't get married now. I mean, we still have a life ahead of us. So the timings are different. Even getting married, I had a niece who got married at 35. Them, they're still young. So timings have changed. The only situation which I feel sorry they don't have the elder people who can sit down with them and talk to them. That's the only I feel that there's been a vacuum.
I have one daughter and 2 sons. We are open with my children. My daughter asks every time, even she asks the dad, how did you meet Mom? Did you court? Did you... So many questions. But all that, we didn't do that. So as we don't know about courting or what have you, we just got married. And because we knew each other, that was not an issue. So sometimes she tells me, no, we need to court someone, and then you stay for some time, then you come to know about them before you get married. And I've not gotten a rough time with her. And also even with my sons. I've not gotten a rough time. I cannot confess that I've gotten a rough time. But I thank God because it's only God who directs. It's not that we are perfect parents for them or we've done something special, but it's only by the grace of God. They've learned to listen to us. They've learned to tell us whatever they are going through. And that's where we are.
I have 2 daughters. One is 28 and 26. And the second born is a hyper. And one day, when she was in class 6, she came and asked me, I think in class 6, the book of science, the first page, I think it's about reproduction. So she came and asked me when I was in the kitchen, Mom, you usually have sex with Dad. Then I was like, guy. It's like a small girl. So I told her for procreation. And then the church has given me permission for you to be here. It's because we did it with Dad, and that's why you were born. And the other day she asked me, Mom, you are saying you are broke and you are married. And then I told her, being married doesn't mean that you can't be broke, and your man is also broke. And she told me, no, I can never be married by a man. And then at times I don't have money. And also I ask for money from him, he doesn't have money. Then I told her, no. Then we talked. We have open communication, and it has really helped because I talk to her, and if she has breakups, I don't know what they call them, breakups, breaking from a man not loving my daughter, she'll come and tell me, oh, Mom, I will see the mood, she's raw, and then I'll ask her, what's up? Then she'll tell me, somebody has put me off, and then she'll be down for some days, and then I usually tell her it's normal, and maybe that man was not God's man, your man is on the way. Then she told me, now I'll have 5. So that one disappoints me, I have some other 4. And I told her, no, doesn't work like that. And we did talk. And I remember also one day, my mother knew that I had started my menstrual period. And that day, my mother cooked special food, jahe, then mukimo, because I've become a cowwoman. You know, a woman is an adult female. I've become a cowwoman. And then it taught me that my girls also need calcium, iron, and some other good food, because as I prepare them to be for childbearing, and I think I'm doing my best to keep them moving. But bringing up girls is challenging because also of the peer pressure. So their friends have good boyfriends. They're taking them for outings, for fun. But my daughter maybe doesn't have. So that one can really also mess our daughters, because she taking a man as far as she's taken to have fun. So we have also to take care. We talk a lot. I tell her, no, wait for God's time. And I think we are somewhere. So I'm waiting to be God's shoes anytime. And it's my prayer.
Amen. But it's good that as parents you're also talking to your daughters, because like in my situation, I remember my father also realized that he needed, as a father, to also speak into my life as a girl child. And it's also made me who I am today. So sometimes you may feel as if your parents' words are limiting you, but they actually in the long run end up protecting you and guiding your choices. And then I think also because my parents, the background is the hospitality industry, he had to actually go into detail and say, try your very best not to find yourself in bars, though of course fast forward, kiherehere, I did go out and drink, but he did go into detail and have to talk about sex in Proverbs of using hospitality and talking about alcohol, and how my mom made a joke and said you will get pregnant if you hold a boy's hand. So today I would say yes, it's one thing leads to another, but it's amazing when parents actually figure out how to proverbially speak in Proverbs to capture the topic of sex. Yeah.
Yes, also, husbands are not in the house. I don't want to be harsh to my children. I don't want to be so strict to my children. My husband is a bit strict. Nah, he should not know this. I'm talking about this. And sometimes he doesn't want them to go out. Then it's like, how will they get? You want to be called grandpa, but you don't want them to go out. How will they fight their men? The men are not here in the house, and then we correct. It doesn't end well. But for me, I want them to be a bit independent. They are grown-ups. They are young adults who need to be released, to be given time, so that they get those good men. Yes, men are in the church, but also maybe their men are not in the church. They are somewhere else, but not in the clubs, of course. But let them have fun, and maybe God has good plans for them.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, for me, love really changed me because I was in a day school up to Form 6. And as we say, those days parents were strict. Where you just stand and look at a boy, you get pregnant. So it was very scary. And I being the firstborn, you're being told to lead by example. So wanted nothing to do with boys, because not because they'll make you pregnant, but it's the battle which you're going to find at home. So you grow up as a disciplined kid. It is school, home, house chores, all those sort of things. And in fact, and even when you go to church, you know, like in the village, when you go to church, everybody's related there. So you just go to church and you go home. So I remember I used to have a lot of migraines, very serious migraines. And finally, I was to leave to India to read. And one thing, my dad liked the place I was going, Pune. He was told there's no alcohol. There are no bars. Indians don't take alcohol. That city, it's a very nice place. So I get in a plane and I go and land there. And the first thing I saw is a bar. So I ask, Have I landed in hell? So the first thing you ask, what is this? Somebody told me, no, they don't call them bars, they call them permit rooms. And they're all here. So the permit rooms were there, the boys were there, the men were there. And that is, I used to tell God, I don't want a relationship where I will jump. God, just give me that one person I'll meet today and we are getting married. And we should learn to listen to the voice of God. I met that person. But incidentally, when I met him and I was in love, the migraines disappeared. I have never had migraines again. And we had this relationship. And as it went on further, I used to have issues with my skin. Because of love, the issues of the skin disappeared. I don't know what miracle it is there, but I can tell you, love did it. Because once my heart started glowing, you know, when you're here and you don't know the way forward, you kind of have mental issues. Yeah. You go through a lot of mental issues. But once you have this person whom you're in love with, things just go on bringing themselves in place. The skin issue stopped, the migraine stopped. I've never had migraines again. And I learned when you're in love, you give it your all. And my life, even headaches, I've never had a headache after that. Just not, there's difference between migraines and headaches. Yeah. Nothing. And my life has been good.
Mine was also when I met this man. Wow. He had this mustache. Yeah. I felt so good. And my mother was not around to see me talking to a man. Because my mother could say, upata mimba utazalia pale kwa ile madizi pale. Mtu apata mimba kwa nyumba. And then I was like, my mother is not around to see me talking to James. So I felt loved, appreciated. And someone hugged me. I felt, mwah. I felt so good. And I came to know that kumbe kuna upendo, there is love. And from there, every time I could see this man, my heart felt so good. And I'm talking out of experience, not something that was not and is not in me. I felt so good. I've never been loved the way he loved me. And it was rough at the first sight because I'm a prison officer, let me say. And I went to Rangata women and I found this man walking, and then he was with my neighbor. I'm just a recruit from college. And he said, how are you? Any problem? Then I said, there's no problem, only that there are no houses. You know, we have issues of houses in those discipline forces. And then he said, I have a big house. I don't know this man. He just said, I have a big house. I'm going to give you one room. I am not going to touch. I'll give you a room. We'll be just sharing the exit and entrance. And then I was like, hey, what a man. Yeah. I felt laughed. And then it's like laugh started there. Then I tried to ignore the man, but he was just every day looking for me. And then, you know, he's a typical man also from village, from Nyeri. And we couldn't go for those, like now, this is how now it has evolved. Nowadays, they are taken to chips and hamburger and everything. Yeah, we could walk to Bomas of Kenya from Langata women to Bomas of Kenya. It's just a walk. It's just maybe a kilometer away. We walk talking. I felt loved. That's my love story. Yeah.
My love story started from home, way back from my mother, my dad, my shushu. I was loved. And I experienced love. So after that, when George came, he loved me. Just from nowhere, he loved me. And I felt appreciated. Then I came, I found a mother-in-law who loves me. And I love her.
Wow.
So I've been evolving in love. I found my sister-in-laws who are loving. I love them. My brother-in-laws who are loving. I love them. So, yeah, I'm just swimming kwa love. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. For me, I would say my story of love would begin with my grandfather and how he protected my mom when my dad appeared on the scene. And my grandfather told my dad, I don't have any daughter to give. Go and come back after 2 years. And my dad left and came back after 2 years. And my grandfather asked him again, you've not found anyone else in those 2 years that you were interested in? It's only my daughter. He's like, yes. So for me, that act of protecting your daughter, coming from the perspective of a father, and then seeing also how my dad also sat me down. He's late right now, but what I live on and remember when it comes to the love was what Mr. Kanari, yes, was what your husband said, where a man knows how to love his family by protecting them and providing for them. And for me, also the greatest act of love from my dad were the conversations that we had about life and love. And there's a time, okay, maybe it can become also a question to them, where public display of affection with African parents is looked at as if it's strange. But there's a time I found my parents dancing, and they felt quite uncomfortable that I found them dancing. And for me, I'm like, wow, that's so romantic. So, and they then stopped dancing and continued pretending to like nothing has happened. And for me, that's a memory that has stuck in my mind, that I know that my parents actually loved each other. And that was the old school love, which for me defines what I also want to see in my own life, and also teach my children that yes, you can create boundaries with what public display of affection is, but you can still show your children what love looks like. So
helping my daughters go through puberty and adolescence, I can tell you that this generation is different from our time. During our time, we had these old people in the village who will guide us. With this one, with the social media, and I keep on saying the same thing, and the TV, they have that knowledge. Now, the only thing they'll do is to come and ask you questions. Like, and we do supermarkets. You know, before we just had shops where you'd ask for something. Nowadays, you have supermarkets, you find that they've even taken the sanitary towels, they've taken these, and then you ask them, what is this thing for? And they'll be able to tell you. They have the knowledge beforehand. But as they are going through whatever they're going through in their bodies, they are not asking questions. They are excited about it. They are coming to tell you, Mommy, I saw this. Mommy, I did this. Mom, I think I'm starting my period. Mom, it's not like us. During our time, it was so hidden, and we used to suffer so much inside. You don't even know whom to talk to. You don't even have the money to go and buy those things, because where would your parents give you money? So these timings are different. I think they are enjoying it. They're even telling us beforehand what matters. And then, like the other day, I met a young person who told me, nowadays you get pregnant because you want to. During our times, there was nothing like that. You're pregnant and you've been messed up. What were you doing with the boy? The timings have been so different, but now we've opened up. We walk the journey together. Wherever they get to something, they'll ask you. They'll. In fact, they're the ones advising us now. And I think we've taken a backseat and we're just observing. Maybe the issue of the love relationships and boys. Before, you'd not take any man or any boy into your house. You couldn't do that. You'll meet in the bush and finally take off when you're getting married. With them, they'll even bring the boys in the house and you'll sit down and have a conversation. And even they'll hug the person when they're living. I remember when our daughter brought some college mates, and they are going, in fact, with the father, we just did this. They're even doing this in front of us. And then they ask you, what's wrong with it? So timings, I don't know whether I can say it's hard or confusing. I don't know. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. My two girls, there are two. And they will share that, hey, me, I've started. And then, but because of the open communication we talked about, they'll come and tell you, Mommy, this happened to me, but in their school, there are those the menstrual products which they are given if you start in the school.
Yeah.
But now there's the emotions and the physical change that a girl gets some breasts. Nowadays, it's not like us, whereby some girls they walk like this, hiding. Nowadays, they feel good. They feel that I'm a woman. They can even walk.
They walk
the chest.
are protruded.
Yes.
The padded brass.
And so I could talk to them about the cleanliness when one is in this menstrual period, and how to change, even if the teacher is talking about it as a mother, because also my mother talked to me about it. I also did it to my girls, and about the mood change, I could talk to them and tell them that it's normal, there's nothing wrong. And then, yes, we worked together, and up to now, as they are becoming, as I'm waiting for them to start their life as a mother, I also talk to them about how to handle a man even when they get, and how to, but that time of puberty, you also talk to them about the physical change of that. They get some pubic hair, and they should not fear. You know, some girls, they could fear that now what is this?
Happening?
Yeah, there are schools where, like us, we were never told. We just saw things happening, and then you find yourself, kuna mambo imebadilika kwa mwili, and then life continued. Nobody taught us. I think those teachers also, well, they had the fear of how to handle the issue. But us, because we are enlightened, we talked to our girls as they are growing up, and I think things have worked. Stress-free life. Also, stress brings some illnesses. So it's good to live a stress-free life and to be very jovial and to not to kubeba vitu. Naibeba hapa unarusha hapa. So you live a good life. Yeah.
Let me also say I'm a breast cancer warrior. I've been through that journey. Madam Mureithi here walked with me when I got it. She talked with us 5 years before. But that time I said, hizo ni za wengine sio zangu. Nikajikuta. And she's the first person.